With the main dart shafts finished, it's time to make the foreshafts. Here I'm scraping a dried piece of dogwood with a flint flake. I then saw a groove all the way around the foreshaft, about 1.5 inches from the end. This groove will become the shoulder that butts up against the cane. I carefully carve away all the wood up to the groove with another flint flake. The foreshaft throat is then scraped until it fits down into the cane and holds itself with friction.
As you'll notice, these are just blunts, just for practice, and they're not exactly perfectly in line with the dart itself. You can see this one's got a little bit of a kink off the line. That's okay. These are just blunts for practice. If I was actually going to make these for real hunting applications, I would want that foreshaft to be much more in line with the rest of the dart. That would give maximum penetration when it strikes its target. So these darts are ready to throw. But the old guys who made these things didn't just make these to throw and play around with. These were deadly hunting weapons. And in order to complete this weapon system, we're missing one vital component, and that's the all-important spear point. Now, to make the spear points, I'm going to use the same stuff that the old guys used, and that was this stuff right here. This is a local North Georgia jet black flint. And whenever we've done archaeological excavations, we almost always find this stuff. Chips of it and tools that have been left behind. This stuff was obviously in high demand back then, so I've got the same stuff, and I'm going to go ahead and chip the spear points that we need out of the same materials that the old guys used. Now, the one area where I'm going to depart from tradition is I'm going to wear safety glasses. The old guys unfortunately didn't have them, but I'm sure they would have used them if they were available. You need to always wear your safety glasses when you're flint knapping, because this stuff can send chips flying in all directions, and you do not want a razor sharp chip of stone in your eye. Now that I've got the spear points finished, I need to get started on the foreshafts, the hunting foreshafts for those darts. Now I've got 2 more pieces of dogwood. As you can see, they've been scraped and they are much straighter than the practice foreshafts. I'm going to get started on these and get these ready to tip with the flint spear points.
As with the practice foreshafts, I saw a shallow groove around one end of the foreshaft. And using a sharp flint flake, I carve away the excess to reduce its diameter. The throat is then scraped down and it's fitted into the front of the dart. A quick check shows it's in line with the main shaft. A groove is then sawed into the front of the foreshaft with various flint flakes until it's the proper depth. The spear point is then fitted into this notch. Another notch is made in the other foreshaft. The leading edge of the foreshaft is carefully tapered for maximum penetration. The second spear point is then fitted and checked for alignment. Pine sap glue is then heated and smeared into the foreshaft notch. Once warm and soft, the point is pushed down into this glue-filled notch. The glue is then molded to fill in the gaps and make a smooth transition. Chewed sinew is then wrapped around the foreshaft and the base of the spear point. The other spear point is also wrapped with sinew, and then both are set aside to let the sinew dry. For a final touch, the handle of the atl-atl is wrapped with a thin strip of leather.
Well, I finally got the darts finished, and boy, they look good. Got the spear points secured to the tips, and they are ready for the hunt. And I tell you, these things are sharp, and if you threw these things at a deer or an elk, boy, they'd be in real trouble, because these things would do a hell of a lot of damage. Got the atl-atl finished too, wrapped the grip with some leather there for comfort, but this thing is now ready to go. I tell you though, making these things, they're a lot more complex than they appear at first glance. The prehistoric hunters who made these things, they were craftsmen, and in order to make these, you really have to have a lot of skill, and it requires a lot of time and resources too. So you learn to develop a lot of respect for the prehistoric hunters who made these things and actually used them. But now that these things are finished, I think what we need to do is go find a good open field where we can test these things for distance and accuracy.